Hi, and welcome to this session on the Quizzes tool and how to manually grade user quiz submission attempts. To get started, from the Manage Quizzes area, we'll select the Down Actions arrow located next to the quiz name. And we'll select the first option there for Grade. This is going to bring you to a Users tab, which will essentially show you all of the users who have completed an attempt for a particular quiz. In my particular example, only one student, TLT student, has attempted one attempt for this quiz, and it was completed and then also scored. And this checkbox here is letting us know that it's automatically been graded by the system. You may remember when we were setting up the quiz settings, there was the option to select a checkbox to tell the system to automatically grade a quiz upon completion. So that's why we're seeing this checkbox here. There may be instances where the graded checkbox is unchecked, and that would be if when you were setting up your quiz you did not select the auto grade option. So whether your quiz was auto-graded or not graded, you do have the ability to manipulate the score and make changes to particular questions. So that's the first thing that we'll show you here. So under the Users tab, which we are on by default, and underneath the student's name we have Attempt 1. So I'm going to go ahead and select Attempt 1. And this will give me some statistics on when it was written, the timing, the grace period, and the time spent on the quiz. The next section is what we're going to focus on, and that's going to be the grading feedback. So this student took the quiz, and as we can see, didn't actually do too well, 4 out of 14, and that is the system automatically grading this quiz for us. But we do have the ability to scroll down here and look at each of the questions. So it'll show us how the student answered the question. In this example, question 1, they answered B, but it shows us here that the actual correct answer is A, and they got a score of 0 out of 1, and it'll let us know that it was auto-graded. If for any reason you need to make a change to a score for a particular question, you can do so rather easily. So let's say in this example, we wanted to give them credit for answering, in this case, B. So I can overwrite the 0 with a 1. And if I scroll back up to the top, I have the recalculate button. I'm going to go ahead and select that, and we should see our final score change from 4 out of 14 to 5 out of 14. And after I clicked recalculate, we now see that we have 5 out of 14. You'll notice that we still have this check mark for graded. And basically what that means is this is updating the gradebook as we make these changes. Another option that you have here is auto grade. If I hit auto grade, it's going to grade it with the same settings that it used in the original assessment process. So if I hit auto grade here, it should change the score back to 4 out of 14 because it's going to give a 0 for question 1. Are you sure you want to do this? We'll say yes. Auto grade is complete, and we're now back down to 4 out of 14. Question 1 is now back to 0. So you can go through any quiz or any quiz attempt and make any changes that you may deem necessary, but once you do so, you just want to make sure that you click the recalculate button. And if you are associating this with a gradebook item and you want to keep the gradebook updated, you'll want to make sure that you have this graded check mark checked. And once we're done here, what we'll do is we'll scroll down to the bottom of the screen, and there will be a save option. If I had multiple users who had submitted attempts, I would have the ability to quickly go through each student attempts by selecting these arrow buttons in the upper right hand corner, but because in this instance I only have one student attempt, they are grayed out. So I want to take you back now to the users tab for the grading field, and to do so I'm going to need to scroll to the bottom of this screen and click close. I want to show you the next tab, which is attempts. So we'll go ahead and select attempts. And you'll notice that this is fairly similar. In this case, it allows you to select an attempt to grade. We only have the one student quiz, so it only has the one attempt available. But typically you would see a number of attempts and then the student's name next to that attempt. So it's just another way for you to access a student's attempt. But note when you go into the attempt, you have the exact same options. Another option that you have when manually grading attempts is the questions tab. So we'll navigate to that now. And here what you can do is go to a particular question and view the responses of each student. So in this case we may select question 5. And then it'll give us the student name, their response, their score, etc. And again, if I had a full class list, I would see a number of attempts for this particular question on this page. We'll select go back to questions here. The other option that you have on the questions tab is the ability to assign a grade to all attempts for a particular question. So I'll show you an example of that now. So from the questions tab, we'll select update all attempts. And in this case, we'll select question 3. And so for within this question, you have the ability to give all attempts an X amount of points. So whether or not they got the answer correct or not, I have the ability to give everybody in the class, say, 1 point for a particular question. The other option, which is probably going to be used more often, is to give attempts with an answer. In this case, we're probably looking for the correct answer. In this case, it's going to be 4. So we'll say give 2 attempts with answer 4 a certain amount of points. So this just gives you a way to assign point values to all attempts on a particular question. And so once we're finished, we'll make sure that we click save.